I've already spent thousands on supplements and still I'm exhausted. Maybe I just need to find the right combination and do this myself. I hear this almost every day from women who are frustrated. They're overwhelmed and honestly broke from trying to heal themselves. You've probably been there too, standing in the kitchen, looking at a cabinet full of bottles, wondering why nothing seems to work despite doing everything right. So it makes sense to want to simplify it, to think there's just one magic supplement that you haven't tried yet. But I need to share something with you that could save you years of frustration and wasted money. Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm a registered nurse and holistic health practitioner. And several years ago, I myself was in heart failure with no medical explanation. The conventional medical system, it failed me. So I had to figure out on my own how to heal myself naturally. And since then, I've worked with hundreds of women who were stuck in that same cycle that I was. They were spending money on supplements, they were getting temporary improvements, and then crashing back to where they started. And there's one critical mistake that I see over and over again that keeps women trapped for years. They're wasting money, getting more discouraged. They think that supplements are the solution. But here is the truth that the supplement industry does not want you to understand. And that is that supplements without strategy aren't healing. They're expensive hope. And in some cases, they can even make things worse because there's something about how your body actually heals that most people completely miss. Most women I work with have what I call a supplement graveyard in their kitchen. Heck, I had one myself under my bed. An entire Rubbermaid tote that was full of half-used supplements. These women and myself, when I was trying to heal, they have tried everything. Magnesium for sleep, ashwagandha for stress, adrenal support for fatigue, liver cleanses for detox, probiotics for gut health, green powders for energy, right? But they're still exhausted. They're still bloated, still foggy, still hormonal, still anxious. Why? Because they're throwing supplements at symptoms without addressing the root cause. They're trying to water a plant while the roots are still sitting in toxic soil. You cannot out-supplement a blocked drainage system. You can't out-supplement a nervous system that's stuck in fight or flight mode. You can't out-supplement daily habits that are silently sabotaging your progress. Here's what I learned the hard way. Supplements aren't the foundation of healing. They're tools. And if you don't know how to use the tools properly, you will not get results. It's like trying to build a house with a hammer, but no blueprint. You might hit some nails, right? But you're not going to end up with a home. The supplement industry has created this myth that more is better, that if one magnesium capsule is good, then 3 must be better. But your body doesn't work that way. And that's because healing has a very specific sequence, which most people completely skip. There's an order of operations. Healing has a sequence. And if you get this wrong, you can actually make yourself worse. Most people start with detox. They jump straight into parasite cleanses or maybe heavy metal chelation or liver flushes. But that's like trying to empty a bathtub with the drain clogged. We start with opening drainage, and most people completely skip this step. So think about it this way. You wouldn't start flushing your toilet if the pipes were clogged, right? The same principle applies to your body. Your lymphatic system, your liver bile ducts, your gallbladder, your colon, your kidneys, your mitochondria, they need to be open and flowing before you start mobilizing the toxins. If they're not, then those toxins, they just recirculate in the body and they create more inflammation and deposit somewhere else. But here's the problem. How do you know when drainage is actually open? How do you know when it's safe to move to the next phase? How do you know when to pause and support your body differently? These are questions that the supplement bottles can't answer for you. The label might tell you to take 2 capsules a day, but it can't tell you that your specific body needs to start with half a capsule, or that you need to support your liver first, or that your nervous system isn't ready for it yet. I've seen women do parasite cleanses without proper drainage support and end up with rashes, anxiety, fatigue that lasts for months. I once had a client who had her daughter do an intensive parasite cleanse with another practitioner, and she ended up having a mental health breakdown. She was in full schizophrenic episodes. Doing this on your own can be dangerous. It's very real. Doing it with a practitioner who isn't educated properly on opening drainage, working in the correct order, it can be catastrophic. This isn't about doing more. It's about doing the right thing at the right time in the right sequence. But there's something even more dangerous about trying to heal alone with just supplements. What you don't know absolutely can hurt you. So let me ask you some important questions. How will you know what dosage is right for your toxic load, your health history, your current symptoms? How will you recognize when you're experiencing a normal detox reaction versus when something is going wrong? How will you know if that headache is a die-off from parasite killing or if you're pushing too hard and need to slow down? How will you identify which food, household product, or daily habit is sabotaging your progress? That is the part that no supplement bottle tells you. This is why so many women spin their wheels for years, myself included, spending thousands of dollars and getting nowhere. When I was healing from heart failure, I tried to do everything myself at first. I read every book. I bought every supplement. I followed every protocol I could find online. And I made myself worse multiple times because I didn't understand the nuances. For example, I had a rash under my arms here, and I self-identified it to be candida, right? It was a yeast problem. I didn't understand why the candida showed up. I just went after the yeast. I went from mildly itchy and inflamed to so red and bleeding that I couldn't even lift my arms above my head. Why did that happen? Because I started trying to kill the candida before ever opening the drainage pathways or providing a binder to attach and carry the toxins safely out of my body. I was absolutely miserable. Another time I started a parasite protocol because I was convinced that was my issue, but I didn't know how to recognize die-off symptoms versus actual illness. I pushed through what I thought was just a healing crisis until I crashed so hard I could barely get out of bed or function. I did not need to push through. I needed to adjust. I didn't know what I didn't know. Those weren't failures of the supplements themselves. They were failures of timing, of dosing, and understanding my body's unique needs. And that brings me to something most women don't consider when they're trying to save money by going it alone. I understand being concerned about investing in proper guidance, but here is the hard truth that nobody talks about. Guessing is more expensive. Staying stuck is more exhausting. And getting worse because you didn't know what you were doing costs more money than any program ever could. Let me ask you this. What's the cost of continuing to feel like this for another year? What's the cost of missing memories with your family because you're too tired to be present? What is the cost of your relationship suffering because you don't have the energy to connect? And what's the cost of trying to DIY your health and missing the real reason your body hasn't healed? I've worked with women who have spent $15,000 on supplements, labs, practitioners, and every latest trend and got nowhere. They could have invested a fraction of that in proper guidance and been completely transformed. The average woman I work with has already spent $3,000 to $5,000 on just supplements alone before finding me. That's not including the functional medicine doctors, the specialty labs, the special diets, the magic protein powders, and all the other things that they tried. But more than the money, think about the time. How many months or years have you been dealing with these symptoms? How much longer are you willing to guess and hope? Because there's something specific about proper guidance that makes all the difference. Real healing isn't about finding the perfect supplement. It is about understanding your body's unique needs and supporting them in the right sequence. It's about having someone who can look at your symptoms and say, Your body is telling us this specific thing, so we need to adjust your protocols this way. It's about knowing when to push forward and when to slow down, when to add something new and when to simplify, when symptoms are a sign of progress and when they're a red flag. It's about understanding that your healing journey won't look exactly like anyone else's, even if you have similar symptoms. Most importantly, it's about having support when things get challenging, because they will. Healing isn't linear, and there will be days when you question everything. Having the guidance of someone who has been doing this for years and who has been there themselves and can instantly recognize patterns and clues that your body is giving is absolutely priceless. When you try to do this alone with just supplements on your own, you're missing the education, the personalization, the real-time adjustments, and the support that actually create lasting transformation. You don't need more supplements. You need strategy. You need someone who understands the complexities of healing and who can guide you through them safely and effectively. So if you're thinking, can I just buy the supplements and figure this out myself? I want you to really consider what that cost is to you so far. How much money have you already spent on supplements that didn't work? How much time have you lost feeling exhausted and frustrated? How much longer are you willing to guess and hope? Your body is incredibly intelligent and it wants to heal, but it needs the right support in the right sequence. It needs someone who understands the map and can guide you through the territory safely. You deserve better than expensive guesswork. You deserve real answers, real strategy, and real results. And that is why I don't recommend just buying supplements and trying to figure it out yourself. The cost to you is just too high.